Fuck it, we'll do it live. Let's see here. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm live. Hello, hello. Hello, all the people out there. I thought it was messed up and it wasn't going live. Alright, let's let it roll for a second here. Can't hear myself. Can't hear myself. Can't hear myself. There we go. There we go. Alright, what's up? What's up? Most people don't watch me live, so this is basically going to be like a recorded broadcast, but if anyone jumps by, still not real good about the chat deal. Let's see here if I can pull it up while I am streaming. And I know it's just a little bit behind, but let's roll with it. Man, I need my glasses. All right. So Jeffrey Epstein accidentally kills himself. You know, what, 3 weeks after he tried to commit suicide before. Oddly, the government says they're going to investigate it this time. They don't typically investigate it. I don't know where the gain's at on the microphone, if y'all can hear the Dr. Pepper cans bouncing around. I have a bit of a problem. Also, going back to the live debate that doesn't seem to be up anymore, may have to do with the fact that my daughter decided to run in without a shirt on. She's 7. I don't know why she was running around without a shirt, but she decided to run in. Well, so that's probably a pretty good reason why it's off, which sucks. But maybe we'll do another topic, another subject. But so I do understand what they were saying about the second law of thermodynamics, and it still doesn't. It still is invalidated by the fact that there's not a heat source that keeps the heat from rising and convects it down. That's why Fight the Flat Earth very skillfully kept saying that, well, no, it's not quite convection, because it's not. And I was thinking about it. So, and again, I'm not a scientist, but I was trying to apply logic. So if a molecule of CO2 in the air, once it saturates, it disperses in all directions, 360 degrees. Well, only roughly, and I couldn't find a good number, so I went with 40, roughly 40%, which would be roughly 140 degrees of angle on either side. So 70 degree angle were opposed to 90. So you still lose 20 on either side out of either vector, and then you lose the whole 180 degree spectra above it if it goes out in 360 degrees. So you're still have a math problem, because any heat that catches, whether it's radiating off of the earth or whether it's you might hear the live stream kind of heat that catches, whether it's okay, so whether it's coming off of the earth and filling the molecule, or if it's saturating it directly from UV light from the sun. So one way or the other, it saturates and then it disperses in 360 degrees. So every time it disperses, you have, and then the rest of it, when it's saturated, the rest of it just passes through. So when it disperses, the 60% of the energy goes off into space, and 40 of it goes back down to the Earth, right? And that's both blocking incoming and off of the Earth. So even if it was split 50-50, you're still dispersing a lot more energy than what you're holding, and you're making up for whatever energy that was sent back towards the Earth out of the clouds by what you stop from coming in. So the same reason why supervolcanoes have created ice ages and stuff like that, because there was too much CO2 in the air. It doesn't make sense that a little bit of CO2 starts to warm the air. A lot of CO2 makes it hot, but then once you hit too much, you freeze. Tell me in what world that makes a lot of sense. I give you a hint. It's not this world. Also, another point that I didn't get to about the data is the 2018 controversy, where NOAA got caught manipulating the data after they took it. So they took a data set and then they applied a factor on it to raise the temperature. So, yeah, kiss my ass. The data is inaccurate. And I was also wrong, and I don't have the citations because I don't really give a fuck that much to I'm not trying to write a scientific paper here. But what my contention is, and from what my understanding is that the water vapor in the air is the variable that the infrared thermometer, no, it's a thermal scan that is then interpreted for its heat signature. It's not the same as a thermometer. In theory, it's a thermometer, but only in theory. Was kind of looking at that, and no one will quite say that it's a thermometer. They'll say in theory it's a thermometer. It works like a thermometer. It's almost a thermometer, but I haven't seen anywhere that lists it as a thermometer. When you do a thermal scan and then interpret the data that comes off of it. But like they said, theoretically it is a thermometer because you can detect a change in temperature. It's repeatable, accurate, all the other criteria that comes along with it. Let's see here. So still doing a little bit of work. That's why I didn't want to go live on the camera. But yeah, so global warming, I mean, like I said, and I also didn't get to the, what is it, the 41,000 year tilt. So if it tilts for 41,000, it takes 41,000 to come back the other way. That gives you an 82,000 year cycle. And who knows how many cycles there are in a perfect loop. So to say that for 80,000 it's off 10%, and then it's off for the next 80,000 it's off 20%, and then the next 80,000 it's back 10%, and then the next 80,000 it's 0, and if it rocks that way, we don't know because we haven't been observing it for the first 41,000 year half turn. So that affects global temperature. Global temperature affects how much CO2 is on Earth, and I don't necessarily think that it's a product of a one-to-one product of, hey, we're putting more carbon in the air, so the air's hotter. I don't think that you can say that indefinitely. While like I said during the debate, that the best argument is you can't take trillions of tons of carbon out of the ground, burn it, and put it in the air and have no effect. I really think that it would CO2 in the air cools the Earth, and it's still my contention. You can't describe a mechanism that would make it warm up, because it wouldn't reflect down. We've discussed that. It has no reflective properties. It has an absorptive property, but that would absorb light coming in and not let it get down to the surface to warm the surface, and as well keep warm air from leaving. But it disperses at 60-40, and at least 60-40. That's a generous. I think the more likely is 135 degrees of the 360 degree radius, and that would be a 62.5, 37.5 split. So that means 62.5% of the energy is never seen by Earth again, and 37% of it is. When even if you say that, what percentage of that was leaving the Earth? Like I said, even if you say 50-50 saturated that cloud, then even if all 37.5% was energy that was already here, then you blocked off 67.5% of new energy from hitting the Earth's surface and warming it up. The theory doesn't hold its weight. One thing I will say is that, and I gotta remember to stay the same direction on this microphone. It's actually a pretty nice microphone, but it doesn't work if you keep rotating around it. But one thing that I will say, and if anyone happens to jump in and watch, leave me a comment. But one thing that I will say is that it's not the easiest thing to do to walk into the lion's den over there at Team Skeptic. I guess everyone knows he's my brother now. And that asshole put me on camera without asking. And not without asking. We kind of discussed me being animated like him just because he was and we look a lot alike. And so I worked from home that day. So, I had a Google t-shirt on, and which I guess he took it down now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I didn't look like a superstar for the camera that day, to say the least. But it is what it is. If you saw that and that came then and brought you to the channel, like I said, I think it's he pulled it down now, but if you saw that, then or if you ever check out Team Skeptic's channel, that's my brother. They talk a lot about flat Earth and physics and a lot of science stuff. Like I said, my focus is more political, but it's 1,200 people watching, and me versus 4 people who are aspiring scientists. So it was fun. My stepmom told me I looked nervous, but who wouldn't, right? That was my first time on YouTube. Wasn't supposed to be on camera. Ended up on camera. Just rolled with it. Wasn't afraid to stand my ground. Wasn't afraid to cede points. Like really, I never felt like nervous like that where, I kind of froze up and forgot things that I knew. Like, and I hate the science word because I'm not a fucking scientist, but when you're talking about the second law of thermodynamics, that weird A word, that it's like the decreasing temperature won't stop decreasing until it is acted on upon a force that will heat it up. So, and that's what what I was saying is there's no force on the way up to that's hotter that would force the hot gases back down, or the infrared light back down to the earth. So the warm air is always gonna vent and raise off in that black body radiation. And like I said, some of it will get absorbed by the CO2, but that means it'll be absorbing the daylight. And I guess at night it would whatever radiation it would catch overnight, and it would still dump off 60-40. It's a small part of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is 10% CO2. So you're looking at holding, 4 degrees per 100 degrees. So you're or 4%. That's really wrong math. Let's just scratch that because I don't know math that well. But it's not a huge factor, and especially considering that you'd be blocking off more during the day. It's always a net energy in, energy out. Just like it's like calories, right? It's like diet, exercise, right? You want to know what diet works? The one that gets you to burn more calories than you eat. That's the diet that'll work every single time. Find some food that you like that you can work off more than what you eat, and you'll get skinny. If you eat more than what you work off, you're not going to be skinny. As you get older, your body works it off slower. Adjust accordingly. You also burn less energy and do less physical stuff. So it's not all good, not all bad. It just is. The very Zen-like teachings. We big basketball fan. So I've always said that let's take 3 people. Let's take Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and I'm gonna list them in this 3 order. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Number 2, Kobe Bryant. Number 3, LeBron James. And let me explain why. Because LeBron James is probably the greatest athlete to ever play professional sports. But that's where it ends. He's the greatest athlete to play professional sports. He is definitely not the best basketball player. He's skill-wise not up there, not very high on my list. And you can have your list. You can have your best player to ever play basketball dribble the ball down half court and toss it in about 40% of the time and waste his 6'9", 265-pound jump over the top of the we need butter. So
Need butter?
yeah, we need some butter.
Okay, I'm gonna grab butter and then I'm checking out and I'm leaving.
Okay.
Alright,
I don't know how much milk we got. Hold on, let me check real quick.
okay.
And this is an advertisement from the Organic Dairy Farmers of America. If you don't like milk, but you need it to cook, go buy yourself some fucking organic milk. That shit lasts for like 3 months. The expiration date on my milk that I've had for since at least July something is September 15th. 18th, I'm sorry. So that is 36 days from now, and I've had it for, at minimum, a month. So that's 2.5 months of shelf life. Yeah, that was another Dr. Pepper open. Don't you judge me. You don't know what my life is like. You don't know what I've been through. So LeBron James, the best athlete to ever play professional sports. it's hard to say that because 6'5", 245-pound Calvin Johnson, 4.4 speed. I heard a story about him doing bench press reps where he did 225 like 23 times. He knew the record for backs and receiver was 24. So he set it down because he didn't want to set the record because he didn't want to put his name up on the wall. That dude was just absolute freak athlete. Same thing with Steve McNair. The strength and conditioning coach, he told the strength and conditioning coach he didn't lift weights. Strength and conditioning coach said, "What do you mean you don't lift weights?" I never lifted weights. This is in the NFL. So he went through his whole college career without lifting weights and hitting the weight room. He said, "Okay, well, I'll make you a deal. If you can do 225 at least 12 times, you don't have to." He did it like 27 times or something, some insanely nuts amount of time, like what the offensive linemen do. And he said, "I lift hay bales. I don't need to lift this stuff right here. You want to get strong? Come work with me on the farm." He said, "That's country strong." I think they did. I think it might have been the name of a Football Life documentary about him. That dude was. I mean, you're talking about like those are just that's some of that's just pure strength. Larry Allen running 4.5. Bench pressing 700 pounds, 360-pound man, just dominated everything. I guess you can tell I'm a Cowboy fan. Deion Sanders, Michael Jordan. But anyways, let me get back to it. LeBron James is the best pure athlete to ever play professional sports. Michael Jordan is the best basketball player. He's the best. He's got the athletic acumen to be there with anybody in the NBA history. But he had the let's just call it nuts, right? He just had the confidence and the swagger and the I'm gonna beat you before I step on the court. I'm gonna beat you before the season starts. A lot of what Golden State's doing right now on this latest run is beating people 3 weeks before the game when their families start. "Hey, you gonna have some tickets for that Golden State game? Man, I really want to see the man. I think that's my favorite team right now. Just the way they pass the ball. Yeah. Right? That starts beating you before you ever play them. When you know your homeboy from kindergarten who done fought people because they said that you weren't that good. They said that you were overrated on NBA Live. You don't fight them people. And and they're like, "Yo, I can't get tickets to this game because these motherfuckers are good." Yeah, like, man, I guess we're going to lose. I guess we can go ahead and chalk this one up as a loss. Let's go get some practice. Let me go work on my stats. Let me try and get some. Let me try and get some points on my average. So, anyways, the difference between LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant is Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson made Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant better because it made them earn it. He made them work through that Zen philosophy and it wore off. It doesn't matter. It's a good philosophy, even if it's not a religious philosophy. The things are just what they are. They're not good. They're not bad. You just deal with what's on your plate and what is today. And that's all you can deal with. And Phil Jackson coached that way, and I think that benefit of having that strong coach, it could have been anyone else. It didn't have to be that Zen philosophy. I just think that helps, particularly when you have an alpha, a super alpha, like the greatest of his time alpha, and you have that you're combating the Shaqs, the Kobes, the Michael Jordans, the Dennis Rodmans, the Karl Malones and Gary Paytons, and you can just name the players that Phil Jackson has dealt with successfully that a lot of coaches can't. And a lot of it is his personal religion or philosophy of the Zen philosophy. Now, what's the difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant then? See, this is when I wish I had like a fan base that was chatting and I could let y'all answer and see if anybody out there said Dean Smith, right? So Jordan had Dean Smith, Kobe didn't. Kobe kind of had a little bit of mentoring from some of these great college coaches, but it wasn't like Jordan who got the hands-on. He got the freshman treatment. He got this, he got that. That made that those shots, right? I had an older brother and he had a best friend who was always stirring things up between me and my other brothers, like trying to get us to scrap because he knew we would all, we're trying to impress him. That was our oldest brother's best friend, and he was cool and he was kind of thuggish. So we all just wanted to show how we weren't scared to fight, and we were this and that, and we can use the cool language and tell my other brother, not his friend, but tell my other brother to go fuck off and this and that, and so taking those licks and growing, that sometimes makes you better in the end. It helps you know when someone's pushing you and know when someone's trying to goat you into something that you shouldn't be letting yourself get into. And that that was definitely my life, being the youngest of 4 brothers in 4 years. Throw a cousin in there that was in that same range, and you end up kind of a little scrappy fighting for yourself. But anyways, back to news analysis. That's what this live stream is about. Jeffrey Epstein is not here, no longer with us. Whether he's really did commit suicide. So I've got a couple of working theories, right? And I've heard one that I'm going to repeat from other people is that they faked his death so they could take him to a torture camp, or because he's an asset to spy heaven, whatever that is. We ain't ever seeing him again. He might as well be dead, right? You weren't going to go to his funeral and take a look at his body, and you ain't going to see him ever again unless something really, really, really bad goes down, right? Unless the government just screws the pooch that bad that they get caught with him at an airport, in a black mask, Guantanamo, taking pictures, and hey, that's Jeffrey Epstein, and I thought he committed suicide. So he is about to tell on some of the most powerful people in the world, and he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I can't imagine what they had other than like the charges, right? Yeah, you're gonna go to prison. You are gonna go to prison, but I don't know what he had as far as extended family, or I don't know if he had kids. I don't know if they were being threatened. And it's like, hey man, I can't get to you where you're at right now, but if you take care of yourself, then we'll leave your family alone. And I'm not trying to sound like it's a Hollywood movie, but if you know the type of people that he is involved with and could implicate in what I consider to be the worst crime in that you could do, which is anything to a child. I won't even watch movies that they mess with children, because that sickens me to the depths of my stomach that anyone would ever fuck with a kid. And I could care less what happens to those people. And I'm a very by the Constitution, cruel and unusual punishment. There's nothing cruel and unusual about anything you want to do to a pedophile. Anything like that's fair game. You fuck with a kid and you pay whatever fucking consequences come your way. And hopefully they're really bad. Hopefully they're as bad as possible. Hopefully we don't execute you and we just put you in a cell with the worst animals alive that just rip you apart on a daily basis and just keep I said, I can't even watch to me, one of the very worst movies I've ever seen, and I won't watch it again. And if I see anyone watching it, I'll just tell them, I just don't watch that movie, is The Mist. It's actually a really good movie. The thing about that movie is I really, really liked it up until the last scene. And he's got 5 bullets, and there's him. I think he had 4 bullets, and it was like these 2 old people, his new girlfriend that he met on the journey, and his kid. And he thinks that the military's not coming. He's on his own. There's monsters. They're out of gas. They've gone as far as they can. The mist is still around them, and homie shoots everybody in the car. And then gets out and the fucking military marches up. That's some bullshit right there. Fuck that shit. You shot your kid, like anything to protect my child and give them the opportunity. Like, I'm teaching my child, it was like a little 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old boy. I'm teaching him, like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to chop off my arm, and that's going to be dinner for a week. You know, we can't really do this. If we can't find an animal, we're going to do this. But until then, we got to keep moving. We got to keep moving. This is what we're going to do. If they get me, this is what you do. You just keep going. You just keep going until you get out of this mist or you get to the army. Right? Like, I got 4 bullets. We can kill the first 4. Grandma and grandpa that we picked up on the way, I don't know you, homie. Best of luck. Y'all can just hold each other till the mist comes and gets you or the army gets you. Best of luck. I'm sorry, I can't really. We have to walk at this point, and I'm not waiting on you. Oh, girl. Sorry, me and little man, we moving. If you can move with us, we moving. But if you can't move with us, sorry. At this point, it's everybody for themselves. So I got a gun and 4 bullets. You better keep up with me, because if there's an argument or a misunderstanding, you're gonna have to go your own way, and me and old boy are gonna get out of here. And he would have just moved. That's how a real man would have acted. Just a psychopath would have ended it the way that movie ended. And I swear to God, he gets out and he hears the fucking tank pulling up, and it's fucking 50 feet away is a tank after he just shot his kid. Man, fuck that movie. And fuck you if you like it too. You fucking sorry sack of shit. Sorry, had to go down that route. But yeah, so the difference between Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron James is Phil Jackson, and then the difference between Kobe and Jordan is Dean Smith, and that's why they rank 1, 2, and 3. And if LeBron could have had good coaches, but he ran anybody who wanted to teach him or show him or craft a team around him instead of him being him crafting his own team around himself. It's 2 different things, being objective and being subjective or whatever, as to what you need around you. And he never was. He might have partnered sometimes and let Pat Riley kind of do his thing, but he still laughed at Eric Spoelstra and said, we ain't running that shit in the finals, in crunch time. And you're telling the coach that we're not running the play that you're drawing up. We're going to run whatever the hell I want to run. You're a coach killer. You're a terrible teammate, and go fuck yourself. You're the damn worst waste of talent ever. I say that because you're the best pure athlete to ever play professional sports. Oh, I thought okay. Maybe we were on Jeffrey Epstein. Got twisted around there. So yeah, fuck that dude. He can go to hell if he's dead. So first thought is he kills himself because someone says, hey, you ain't telling on me, bro. Either you kill yourself or everything that you worked for your whole life, it goes away. Yeah, so that's, so then he kills himself. He does everything possible, but there's so many anomalies. The Attorney General Barr, who seems to be a pretty active Attorney General, is kind of suspicious why the camera stopped working and the guards went on break 15 minutes before he decides to to hang himself. It Hollywood couldn't write a script like this. You wouldn't believe it, and maybe that's what they're hoping for now, is that you'll just be like, he killed himself. There ain't no way. They didn't pay off the guards, and have someone in power didn't have the guard put him tell the guards that were watching his specific thing to go on break just enough time to give him to either kill himself or for someone come in and kill him. You're out of your damn mind. It happens in other countries, so you have to assume that it happens here. All right, moving along. What else is going on? I think that's pretty much what's dominating the news. Except there seems to be a fracture in politics, and why don't we cover this just briefly and kind of preview what the up, down, left, right episode is, and then I'll get out of here and focus a little bit more on my work than talking into a microphone. So right now you have a fraction in the political right, what in America we call the political right, and as well in the left. In the left, you have both. You have traditional and you have the less traditional. The problem, everyone knows what the problem on the left is. It's well documented. It's socialism versus this. Kind of this center. Okay, we'll call it liberal. We'll call it liberalism and socialism. Those are two different things. The classic liberal and the classic liberal and the classic socialist are two completely different things. The socialist wants more government. The liberal wants the government to leave everybody alone, except for help to the needy and everything else. That's kind of a classic liberal, theory is, hey, don't, get rid of some of the cops and hire out some, and hire some, social workers and give out, social aid instead of putting people in jail. Like, how about that? How about we spend our money there? That's a classic liberal standpoint, whereas that's a classically liberal standpoint, where a socialist standpoint is well, if we give government control of the industry, then everyone will be able to do whatever they want. And I don't know, I guess this is where it gets gray, right? So if you get your way and you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing, then where do you go from there? Well, you keep asking for the next thing left. If you get that, you ask for the next thing left, right? So then eventually it comes into social control. Like, there's ultimate goals of socialism, communism, to organize a society in a certain way, and once it happens that way, then it becomes authoritative, and then it keeps going to the next step left, because people can't stop playing government. One thing I love about Texas, our state government only meets every other year. We decide to only play government every other year. Less can get done. If you don't get it in this term of Congress, you have to wait 18 months to reintroduce it, and by then, if it's a real issue, it'll still be there, and if it's a fake issue, it'll have gone away. We only play government every 18 months. I want to see how that plays out against all these people from California moving here who may not understand that. May not understand that. You mean only the years that we vote for a congressman do we play government? Only for 7 months is the only time the government's open, for 2 years? Yeah. Good luck getting your shitty ass bill passed. We believe in freedom. Small government. On the right, your fraction becomes, I guess, the new right and the old right. The new right is the libertarian right. And it's going to be real interesting because of the people who are trying to dominate the conversation. The intellectual dark web. We're so much smarter than you. You should listen to us because we know what we're talking about because we are the intellectual dark web. So that gay shit right there. Yeah, the libertarian movement is easy. We don't need media overlords to get out there and make it complicated. It's real easy. Just leave us the hell alone. Don't overregulate and overtax humans and businesses. And at the same time, don't try and have the number one prison population in the world. Leave people the hell alone. It's already hard enough to do government. You should involve yourself in as little as possible, right? And so the argument from the right, from the left, if you just look at it at its core basics, is comes down to this: if the government wants to develop a product versus somebody who has cash who's ready to invest in that project, the government has to go get a survey about if they should spend the money. Then they have to do a study about how they should spend the money. Then they have to bid it out into contracts that everybody who's approved on that list knows that you have to bid it about 50% higher than what you would bid it if it was a private job. But it's going to cost you a lot more because you're going to have to use the highway cones instead of the old cones that you had. You're going to have to use X, Y, and Z, and that's going to run the price up. And then you're going to have to buy those from companies, and they're going to tax those companies. And the government is looking for a way to get as many people as involved to put their hands on that money as possible, as opposed to one company saying, this would be a good idea. Let's go get this firm who tells us how to do it. We already have that machine over there in that building that can do something similar. Let's see if we can retrofit it and just start producing it and making money. So it's 10 times more efficient, because every time you put you're looking to add one more job. Every time government grows, you're trying to add one more layer. One more layer means paperwork. One more layer needs another computer. One more layer needs paper and printer, and it needs a manager and needs this and that. And so your bureaucracy adds to the cost to where that's all you're paying for in your taxes is for someone to have a job playing government every day. That's why government healthcare doesn't work. When they say, "Oh, it'll be cheaper per person." No, it won't. It won't for the same reason that you ended up sleeping with your girlfriend or wife the first time. Because kissing was cool. Kissing was real cool. But kissing when you're laying down is just a little bit better. Right? So it is. It's cheaper. Well, there's long lines. We can't get any health care. What you mean, baby? We can come back and lay down in my room. I said, okay, well, we can shorten the lines. But you got to pay just a little bit more. Okay. Let's go lay down. So now you're laying down and kissing. Now you put your hands up for sure. Oh. We got a problem here. You know. It's telling me to wait this disease out, or this virus out for 3 weeks. But I know that there's a medicine that'll get it done in 5 days. Why can't I get that? Well, there's no money for it. You can get that. You got to raise the price a little bit. Right? So you're on your next date. She keeps telling you no. Next date, you get your hand up, sure. Right? You bought dinner, you invested more of your time, you're seeing her, you invested more emotions. And now you want to get that shirt off. Right? Now you got the medicine, right? But now there's a medicine that gets it taken care of in 3 days. The next time you have an outbreak, right? But it's more money. If it's more money for you, it's more money for everyone who's like you. So you can have that absolutely all day, every day, as Cat Williams. We can do this all day, every day. Daddy can do this. But before we do this, let's go down to the Payless. Trying the Bugs Bunny, the Looney Tunes shoes, yada yada yada. Basically, he's telling them, you can get 1 pair of Jordans or you can get 10 pair of brand new shoes. Which one you want to do, player? And the kid don't know that Jordans are so hyped up. So he said, go and give me the 10 Looney Tune ones. Got 1 for every day of the week and 3 just to play around in at the house. And my new house shoes. Because I got money like that. So, as you can see, it'll start cheaper. It absolutely will, because that's the only way that they could ever pass it, is to make it look as though it's going to be half the price. And you just say, well, you're already pulling $100 out of my check now for whatever the hell it is you're pulling money out of my check for, insurance or whatnot. Why not give it to the government and just have health care? And I just pay that $150, and if I get sick, I go down and get. Sounds good, right? But then what you don't take into consideration is when you need life-saving care, what quality care are you going to get? It's not going to be that good. And by the way, we have a public health care system in this, well, at least in Texas. I don't know how all states work, but it's called the county hospital system. In Dallas County, and I don't live in Dallas County, but that's where I grew up. In Dallas County, it's called Parkland. And yeah, you might be down there and see a gunshot victim. But that's your fault for not having insurance. They will definitely take care of you. It might take you a few extra hours. You might see some pretty bad things while you're there. Welcome to socialized medicine instead of private insurance. That's what you get. I live in a different county in Texas. I pay for a county hospital tax. They take that money and they provide free health care to the county with my money. I'm fine with that. It's part of my property taxes. It's part of having no income taxes. I pay a little bit more on my property tax, and they cover things like hospitals and roads and this and that and schools and these $65 million football stadiums that are in some of our cities and the $100 million football stadium that the Cowboys share with a high school for their training facility. We pay for that in our property taxes, and we pay for community hospital. So if you need attention, you should probably start there, because the citizens of that community have already voted to take care of your punk ass at the community hospital. So quit going to the government and telling them you need special treatment. It's kind of how I feel about it. And if more people did that, the prices would come down. They would use that as an alternative. Sorry, reading something on my computer. But anyways, that's seems like a good place to leave it. As always, you motherfuckers, keep being motherfuckers and fuck everybody else. Peace.